All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us again here for another edition of our Franchise Your Business webinar series. My name is Tom Dufour. I'm the founder of Big Sky Franchise Team, and I'm really excited for our guest today as folks are loading into our session here, because as with most things in franchising, at some point, things like site selection and build out and design and all of these things come up. But in my experience, many franchisors and franchisees tend to struggle on where to go, how to do it, what to do, various things that come along with that. And so I'm very excited to have with us today Joel Berman, who is the founder and president of Berman Architecture, which is a national professional design firm based in Chicago, specializing in retail franchise prototypes, franchise physical retail locations, commercial kitchens, food service, restaurants, bars, hospitality, and all kinds of other location-based types of needs that you might have, including multi-projects, franchise prototype designs, and more. Joel's a registered architect in multiple states across the country, and he's a member of the Association of Licensed Architects and holds an NCARB certification allowing simple architectural license reciprocity with all 50 states and provinces in Canada and parts of Mexico. So, needless to say, Joel is an expert here, and he knows design, layout, and architecture, and is a great resource. So with that, Joel, what I'd love to do is go ahead and turn things over to you to start your presentation here.
Sure. Thank you, Tom. So, like Tom said, that I'm an architect and a designer, and we have a focus on prototype design. So it's franchise system prototype design. So we help you scale quickly. We help you design and build. We give you consistency, and then we allow you to enforce your branding. So first I'm going to show you how we do that. Tom, I need to share my screen.
Sure. Let's see here. Let me just go ahead and make sure that it should be good to go there.
Okay, great. Okay, can you see my screen?
Sure can.
Okay, so this is our hospitality and franchise prototype deck. So first of all, we're experts in prototype design. We're licensed architects, we're interior designers, and we're experts in branding. We have presence across North America. We work with multiple brands. So when we start the conversation about branding, it's always a conversation with freehand drawing. Why is that? Because we can iterate ideas quickly, and freehand drawing is a simpler form. It's a different type of communication. It's a different language. So what might it look like if we were to sell frozen dumplings at the Taiwanese dumpling house at the point of sale? Why is putting brown booths in the dining room not optimal? It makes it less flexible. I can tell you that, or I can show it to you graphically in about 30 seconds. What made a maker brewery look like? What might a chef's training kitchen look like, looking at both views, front and back? And what might it look from the outside at the expo? Next, what we do is we actually create layouts for the brand. So typically the franchise system or the chain will have basic design standards. In this case, it's a restaurant, so it has equipment. We know that it's quick serve. And we also know that there's a specific brand in mind. So what we'll do is we'll lay out 2 to 4 schemes in 3D, and then we'll share them with the owner. And then the owner will select the one that's the closest to what they want. Then we'll actually start working on that together. And in a moment, I'm going to demonstrate that process with Ryan. And then we do the same thing with the finishes. So this is the Dalai Lama Waffle Master. This is Bottle House. It's west of Chicago in Aurora. This is Jeff's Bagel Run. So we have 4 locations in Florida, and we're starting We're in the middle of doing one in North Carolina. And this was a concept for Chicago Franchise Systems. That's Nancy's Pizza and Al's Beef. And this was a concept that we created for really millennials. This is about 10 years old. But what we do is we present rendered views. Then we actually have, we work with the owner to approve the look and feel, and then we send the finished materials overnight so that you can hold them and feel them in your hand. Also, the branding really extends into murals. So how do you do this efficiently so that all of your locations, the mural and the artwork can be done efficiently? So we design it digitally. Some of these are hand drawings. This is Rebel 365 from Ojai, California. These are hand drawn, and then we work with them in Adobe, and then we have them printed and installed as wallpaper. Here's the two options for the murals in Bottle House. I like this one better, but they chose the sports themed one, and this is Be Nutritious. It's a Southern California franchise system that promotes purity and healthy food, and they do healthy meals. So this is Slice, Sliders, and Fries mural. It's actually it's a watercolor of Savannah, and that's a Savannah-based franchise system. And this was done in our office by Ryan Davis. So we can use many different ways to create the mural. Here are some local brands, or I shouldn't say local. Here are some national and international brands that we work with. So many of our Moheyas, Indian wedding clothing stores. There's over 500 locations in India, and we do locations in the US. We spoke about Jeff's Bagel Run. 810 Billiards and Bowling, we're going to show you that in a minute. That is 25 to 65,000 square foot entertainment build out. It's bowling, billiards, axe throwing, and other items. Gelatissimo is a brand from Sydney, Australia. It's a high-end gelato. Mel's Drive-In was from the original American Graffiti movie. We're going to show you some technology that we use to actually capture existing building information. This is an example of a prototype. This is the Dalai Lama Waffle Master. You can see this is a render that we did before the first store was even built, or I should say the rebranded first store was ever built. So on our prototype set, so we create a prototype set, and it's the template from which all other locations that are going to be built for the franchise system, it's the template that will be used everywhere. So here we have the square foot area of each piece. We have the rooms clearly called out. We have, here's a reflected ceiling plan. It shows the lighting and the ceilings. We have all of the furniture specified, where to get it. Here's a lighting schedule. Everything here, we've checked to make sure that there are not supply chain issues and that everything is available nationally, or if necessary, internationally. Here's all of the commercial kitchen equipment. Here's the equipment laid out in scale, so that the builder, the franchisor, the franchisee, and the landlord understand how the equipment fits together and what the size will be. And then here's the standard kitchen layout. Here's every elevation in the store called out with keynotes with all of the finishes. You really want to dial this in very specifically. If you don't, you will have trouble. You will have difficulty enforcing your brand, and your franchisee will want to change things constantly. By creating a tight franchise prototype, everybody knows what they need to acquire. The contractor that's building it will have very clear information, and any architectural drawings that are made for a specific location will follow the prototype. So we have everything here, material finishes, everything right down to the door hardware set. And then we do renderings, which really help sell the brand to landlords, franchisees, and help get the word out on social media. Okay, next, what I'm gonna let Ryan share screen, and he's going to show us our virtual design process.
Thank you, Joel. I'll go ahead and share my screen.
How do I unshare here?
I can unshare for you.
Okay.
All right. You can see my screen okay, yeah?
Yes.
I thought I'd go a little bit into the Matterporting process. So what we do is for an existing site, we'll actually go into to the location and actually use a 3D camera to scan the site completely. Here we go. This will help us get a better idea of the existing conditions and also help us coordinate with the contractors and the engineers without us ever having to go to clarify stuff in the site. Now, and in this, we can even go into the building and actually take dimensions if we need, right? And what we do with this, we export this as a point cloud and actually put it into our 3D modeling program to trace existing conditions.
The reason we do this is because it's very, very accurate. If we just take a tape measure or a hand laser, we will miss things. And this way we go in once and we have all the information. Also, the franchisor, the franchisee, the contractor, everybody involved, the consulting engineers, the architects, anybody else can see everything very clearly and take measurements directly from this. This is a very large scan. For the typical franchise location, it might be 1,000 to maybe 5,000 square feet.
So right here is a 3D rendering program that we use to actually help us walk through the project and also can help sell to franchises. Now, one thing Prototype actually can help with is not only the other things that Joel described, but also it can really help with just the initial bidding and the initial pricing of a project. So you can give a client an idea of pricing before you even start design. So this right here is the 810 Billiards and Bowling franchise that we work with. And like everything that we do here is just basically standardizes it. And we take an existing project and we make that into the actual standards for design. So we have standards for design for the host desk here, the whole, bowling pin rack up top, and even for the lane design themselves. And that includes finishes, equipment, really everything.
This is a great way to get your franchisees excited.
Yes.
This isn't even the product. Is this the prototype, Ryan, or is it an
Yeah.
active location? Okay.
This is the prototype.
So then, real quick, Ryan and Joel, while you're showcasing this, just to interject with a couple questions, as I'm thinking, a lot of folks who are dialing in may be existing franchisors or emerging franchise brands, and to me, what a great way to showcase a virtual walkthrough, almost even as kind of like a discovery day, virtual type discovery day that they could use this for. Do you see your clients using this in the sales process, franchise sales process?
Very much so. As a matter of fact, we have the ability to create QR code scans where you can put yourself right in the model. As a matter of fact, Ryan, do you want to? Yeah, go ahead, Tom, and scan that with your cell phone.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go ahead and just scan this QR code, you can actually get a 3D view of the space just on your phone.
Oh, I see. This is really cool.
This is another way to, pitch to a client or franchisee. Makes them really excited about the space and gives them a better idea of scale.
Wow.
Yeah, not only that, if you're looking for franchise locations, this is a great way to dazzle the landlord, because these days everybody is competing for the best spaces, and your brand will really come across as put together and well thought through. And people will, rather than handing them blueprints, you can hand them the blueprints, but you can also show them really what it looks and feels like. They can be standing right in the space, and that landlord will be proud to have you as a tenant.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. And you know, for someone who might tune in uh, just to an audio only recording of this, by the way, or might be just maybe listening live, when you get a chance, when this is published here for the webinar up on our YouTube channel, definitely worth to your time to go about 15 minutes into the presentation here and scan this QR code. It is worth it to check that out.
Now, most of our prototypes are usually on like a 11 by 17 sheet. You know, this project here, the square footage is so high that we just had to go with a 24 by 36 inch. You can still print it out at half scale, but you know, so for this, we really wanted to make sure we had all the standard like details and stuff as well. So we actually have like standard details that we can use and we can copy and paste into our projects. Now, when we copy and paste these details into our projects, that not only saves a lot of time, but also keeps us consistent. Here we go, bar details. So this keeps us consistent on each project with the design. And if we want to update the prototype for all other projects that are moving on right now, we can actually adjust in the prototype, and we can then copy and paste them to all the other projects. And then that way we can stay consistent and standardized.
Right, and we did this actually last week. Ryan is in Michigan, I'm in Chicago, and we actually did a review of a mock-up of this millwork. So the millworker drove in from Ohio, and then we viewed the installation. We actually had the franchisor and the general contractor on a video call. It was great. And we finalized the details of the millwork and then immediately went back and updated the standards so that they're consistent. And that's for we did that for a Florida location. So really, to be able to do this properly, we all need to communicate very clearly virtually. And you know, it's if your design team should have a very straightforward collaborative process, and these days you should be able to work virtually with complete photorealistic rendering, you know, in a video format. And you should work with people that understand the craft. Actually, Ryan, do you want to show what we do with commercial kitchens in order to import the equipment properly?
Sure. So a lot of the time, we'll get an equipment list from a contractor, and we need to make sure that our drawings reflect the actual specs of the equipment, not only for sizing, but also just so people can recognize it on the set. So what we do is we actually have a plugin here that we can actually go to a catalog of a bunch of different manufacturers. It doesn't have everything, but it has most everything.
So this is KCL. It's actually what the commercial kitchen equipment vendors use. And why do we have a subscription? It's because we couldn't get the information from them fast enough. So the easiest thing for us to do was to just actually find the source and then use it. So we actually help our clients lay out their kitchens, and then we can have vendors actually bid, you know, we can have multiple vendors bid on the drawings. So, you know, with the right people involved, we can really help you up and running quickly. And then we have a virtual design process. By the way, Ryan, after you do that, do you want to like do a quick design session where we're actually moving things around in the model?
So, and one thing that's really helpful with this is, you know, when we get the specs, or even in the design meeting, we can find something similar, and we could just load it directly into our project. If it decides to work. I haven't had this issue before.
Ryan, why don't we come back to it in a minute and just go ahead and show the, why don't we take an area of the, oh, there we go. Okay, great.
Sure.
And then
So
show that in, first of all, show that 3D, like an isometric on the side, and then in plan, and we'll show how the design changes in both at the same time. And then maybe we go out to the dining room or bar and make some changes in those areas. So what you want as a franchisor is to be able to have complete control of your design, and you want to be able to understand what it is that you're getting and what you're designing. And what you need is an architect and a design team that understands how to do that quickly, effectively, and visually. Oh, this is Jeff's Bagel Run. You want to show on Jeff's Bagel Run, Ryan?
I'm pulling it up here for 810. I'm just trying to organize the views a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
So you need the right tools to do this effectively.
But let's say they wanted to completely flip this entire thing with all this equipment. They just wanted to, they say they want the bar to just be completely flipped. What we could do here is we can take this equipment and in 3D and in plan, they can see the changes live.
Right. And so we're lazy. We don't want to mark up paper and then draw it later. We want to do the design changes with you on the fly. We'll also change the look and feel and the textures and the finishes in real time too. So when we're nailing down the details, this is how we do it. We also do this. We did this with the franchisor for the size and the configuration of the bar. We worked back and forth, making sure that the flow and everything worked really efficiently. What's more important to a franchise system than having flow and operations that work well and having standard operating procedures that actually work well with the facilities? So when we're doing this, sometimes we actually have the operations people from the franchise system or an operations consultant, and we make sure that we all work together. And what better way to do it than to do this visually and in real time?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're, as you described those situations, I mean, just to have real-time updates available, or for people working remotely in different locations, clients in different parts of the country, or what have you, to be able to, even like our screen today. I mean, I'm in Atlanta, you're in Chicago, Ryan's in Michigan, and we're updating and modifying, location plans and site plans instantly and instantaneously if we were having a discussion to change it.
Right. And we have like 9 people in 3 different countries. So we coordinate constantly and do this to the best effect. And it works really, really well, but you have to have all of your ducks in a row. The other thing is we do this during construction, and we change construction details. If the contractor finds conflicts, we go ahead and we resolve it with them on a weekly meeting. And typically we have video of the site, and then we're actually updating drawings and creating updated sketches during the meeting while we're talking. It's very, very effective. And our contractor, we work consistently with the same contractors because we work well together. It's efficient for them, it's efficient for us. And so really what you want is a seamless process. Now, from the contracting standpoint, you can work with a consistent contractor across the country, or you can work with multiple contractors. We found for larger projects like this 810 that having a national contractor is actually quite effective. You can also have regional contractors. Maybe you have one contractor in the Southeast that covers that area. For the Jeff's Bagel Run, it's a smaller store, and a larger contractor might not be able to service stores that size throughout the whole country. But the main thing is that you have a consistent template to do everything. And what we have is we have the Holy Bible. We have the Holy Bible of the brand, of the facilities of the brand, and we continue to update it. And the key is to dial everything in, get everything effectively working, and then make adjustments over time to dial it in and make it better and better and better as you progress. So let's say, for example, that we decide that we want to change the finish of the point of sale. Let's say we want to darken that counter, or we want to put in a different refrigerator, different display refrigerator, or change the signage. We'll do that over time very quickly. So we're adjusting the Jeff's Bagel Run prototype as we get feedback from restaurants that we've already done as they're being built in real time. And what you want is a living document. And you don't just want a living document in drawings, you want a living document in renderings too, so that you can understand and see what you're getting. And that's what you really should get with a great design team.
So yeah, and Joel, just to I think that's a great point, just to emphasize that whether they work with your firm or others out there, I think your point is well made here. Whether they're working with Berman or other, that something like this ought to be produced as part of the experience together, is what you're saying.
The technology exists. It's simple. It's straightforward. So your architect should be able to do this in order for you to have a full comprehensive experience and to understand what you're getting. It's really key to making sure that your franchise system runs smoothly and that the locations are built quickly, consistently, and that you can actually enforce your brand. So the franchisor knows exactly where their mural is going, knows exactly the finished pieces and the colors, and the stores come out consistent, and then there's constant improvement. And the only way to do this efficiently is to have the prototype set properly. And it's once the prototype is dialed in, then it's like a rocket ship. Then your franchise system blows up. You can open multiple locations and you have consistency, and it will be a pleasure. Your franchisees will be thrilled, and everything is more predictable and there's less chaos.
Great.
Which is what franchising is all about.
Yeah. So Joel and Ryan, we just had a question come through. Are you okay if we if you take a question here from the audience, from the attendees?
Oh, as many as possible.
Okay, so they were just asking, can you give a ballpark range on fees or costs for the initial designs, and how that works between the franchisor, or is this an expense that the franchisee is generally paying for? How does that work?
Well, typically we would design the prototype, and sometimes what often happens is we'll come in working with the franchise system where maybe things are chaotic, where maybe there's multiple locations being built and they're inconsistent, and there's construction issues and there's design issues and cost overruns. And then what we do is we'll design the prototype. Sometimes it's based on a specific location. Sometimes we take just a typical, for the Jeff's Bagel Run, it might be a 1,200 square foot strip mall space, and we'll work with that. But really, the prototype cost is, I can't really tell you exactly what it costs. It's going to vary by type of project. But I don't know, it might, at the lowest end, that you're probably talking about an $18,000 to $20,000 investment. And then for something that's larger and more expansive, it might push 40 to 50,000. But that's really, it's hard to nail that down. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about your specific brand and what we can do for you and what the costs might be.
Yeah, that's perfect. And
I want to just add that that's all of those costs are all inclusive for everything that we're showing you, including the renders and the 3D walkthroughs. So you're getting more than just blueprints for your template. You're getting the complete visuals as well. And typically when we do it, the prototype is brand new. So it's important to have those images up and running before one is built.
And we've even worked with existing designs that people already have. We've had restaurants that already have like a look they want to uphold, and so we update their prototype to their current look and then make it better, or we make a few changes, but that way they still have the look that they want from off the bat, that we can kind of adjust it like later on.
So then in terms of scheduling that appointment, Joel, if they wanted to get you had offered just for someone to reach out, how can someone get in touch with you to schedule that appointment or to talk more specifically about their brand and specific needs?
I'm happy to give a free consult, a free hour consult to any franchisor that wants to talk about their brand. We can talk about ideas. The easiest way would be to either email or text. And I'm assuming that there'll be contact information on this recording. You can email me at Joel, Joel, at bermanarchitecture.com. And hold on, I can share screen and actually give you my contact information. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you right here.
All that information will also be on our website, which you could also see, other projects that we've worked on as well.
Right. So that's my cell and that's my email and that's our website. Tom, are there any other questions?
I don't see any right now, but I'd love to open it up. Are there other questions, comments, discussion points to ask Joel or Ryan while we have them here? Well, while we're waiting here, and you can feel free to type that into the Q&A or raise your hand and I can unmute you. But I did have a question, and a lot of the clients that we work with are emerging franchise brands. They're either just getting started looking for their first franchise or somewhere between their first and maybe their 20th franchise that they're adding into their system. And what have you seen, Joel, from your experience working with an organization like yours? Timing wise, is it better to get in sooner rather than later? When do you usually find working with franchisors is the most advantageous?
I think when it's like initially, it's not a good idea with just one location. I mean, we can do it, but I usually recommend at least the second or third, because then you really have experience with, you have a lot of experience with different facilities and different pieces, and likely the three are not exactly the same, and you have a better sense of what may work. We can certainly do a prototype based on one, or we can even do a prototype before you open any of them. But I think typically you want to test the waters first.
Great. Okay. That's great advice. Great advice. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in here. So, Joel or Ryan, is there anything you'd like to leave with us before we close this out?
We can help you turn your brand into a rocket ship. If you're having trouble getting your franchise locations up and open consistently, we can help you streamline the process. We can help you become more profitable, and we can help you have a great story and a great design. So we would very much like to partner with you and help you be the best that you can be.
Excellent. Well,
I also
Joel,
have an idea. If I
go
can.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead, please.
If someone's unsure on like the certain look or feel they want to have, right? So they know what they want to sell or what type of restaurant they want to have, or any type of franchise really. If they're not really sure on the look they want to have, or even like the branding, like what kind of fonts do I use? What type of logo how should my logo look? That's something else that we can help out with. And even if it's on the first location, to set it up for prototypes in the future.
Yeah, Ryan is right. We do independent locations too, maybe just a specific business location, but we love working with franchise systems.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys very much. And this recording will be published. We'll have this published next week on our YouTube channel at Big Sky Franchise Team on YouTube, on a blog page on our website, as well as our podcast, the Franchise Your Business podcast. So lots of different ways for you to access this, listen to it, share it with your team members. And Joel and Ryan, this has been fantastic. I mean, to me, makes so much sense for a new brand, an emerging brand, and a growing brand of any kind to be connected with you all, to be going through this. So thank you all for your time. Thank you to our guests for tuning in. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tom.